Curt Schilling. By the way, we did call Elizabeth Warren's office, has yet to hear back from her. Curt, it's very good to have you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
All right, you're first off a big Donald Trump fan, right?
I am a big American conservative, constitutional loving person, so I will be voting for Donald Trump.
What do you think of all the dust-up he's gotten from these comments about Miss Universe, the weight, the women thing? What do you think of that?
Well, I think that in each and every one of our pasts, we've said things we regret. We've said things that we probably shouldn't have said. But last I checked, nothing he said got 4 people killed in Benghazi, so I'm okay with that.
Hillary Clinton picked up a little bit, Curt, as you probably heard in the polls. Not a lot. It could change. But did he go too far? Did that debate hurt him? And if so, how would you advise him?
Well, first off, I think the debate as we know it is now an outmoded way to judge these people for president. You don't run the country in 90-minute oral arguments. I think what it did show you is that he is not a polished politician, and I don't think that's a bad thing. The polls I heard, he was up after the debate, but at the end of the day, I stopped living on polls after Brexit, and start to rely on discussing with people. And so, I think she did everything she could. Listen, she has nothing to attack him with because she has nothing to stand on achievement-wise. She's never 26 years, which I thought was a very powerful response from him, which was, you've had 26 years to fix it, you've done nothing. And it's true, she hasn't. She's done the opposite of nothing. She's hurt in every possible way she can, and I think she's the epitome of just a very bad, evil human being.
Your opinion there. Now, how long have you been conservative?
Yeah. My whole life. I was raised, my father served, my family served. I wanted to serve before I was given the God-given ability to throw a baseball pretty hard, accurately. Yeah. But I've been an Army brat since the day I grew up.
So when you came to the Red Sox, did they know you were conservative?
Yeah, I think in '04, I think the need to win a World Series trumped politics right up until the point when I said vote Bush after that.
Yeah, then you got a different response. This issue where you might challenge Elizabeth Warren, are you really serious about that?
Oh, I'm serious about it. I'm thinking about, listen, one of the things about a senator that people need to understand, a senator takes the constituents' concerns to D.C. It's not about politicking the state. Governor Baker, I think, is doing a good job. I think he's made a lot of people mad on both sides, which to me is a good sign. But Senator Warren is about free education. And just locally, there's 29 public colleges in Mass, 191,000 public college students. That's over $3 billion a year, which means to graduate a 4-year class in this state, you're looking at over $10 billion in new taxes. Not money, new taxes.
So what would you do?
On a national
if you got that job, what would you do?
Well, first off, I would get rid of that. Listen, I'm okay with free education and free college in Mass if they can pay for it. The federal government shouldn't be funding that because on a national scale, by 2020, we're talking about having 20 million college students in 2- and 4-year public universities at a cost of almost $5 trillion every 4 years of new taxes. That's money we don't already pay. And I think that a lot of people miss that. I'm all for as cheap an education as we can make this, but the capitalistic market drives the winners and losers. And the more the federal government gets involved, the less success it has and the less off we are as a country.
You know, Curt, what they always do, and we're already seeing in this race, but in any race, they dig up stuff you've written and said, right? And in your case, I mean, there's a fielder's choice, as it were, right? I mean,
there is a mound of it.
They're right. On the transgender thing, you said a man is a man no matter what they call themselves. I don't care what they are, who they sleep with. Men's room was designated for the penis. Women's not so much. Now you need laws telling us differently. Pathetic.
Right.
Okay. Well, there you go. So how would you handle that? That came up in the press conference.
Neil, the federal government doesn't belong in the bathroom. Let the states, let the citizens of the country dictate how they want to run their states. Isn't that what the government was set up for? To protect the people of this country, to provide for the people in this country that can't provide for themselves, and then the 50 states are supposed to go off and police themselves and take care of themselves. The more federal government we have in our lives, the less our lives have become free and livable.
So let me ask you this. When this happens, of course, many in the media will quickly forget what a great pitcher you are and focus on your political comments. And the Rolling Stone magazine earlier this year, I think back in the summer when you were first toying with this idea of running for Senate, said, if you think the white guy grievance movement will die after Donald Trump's likely landslide defeat this November, think again. There will be plenty of filterless, self-pitying dunces to carry the torch in Trump's place. Schilling is a leading candidate. What do you make of that? Pretty nasty.
Yeah. Well, that's the same magazine that I believe ran the Lena Dunham story.
Touche.
If I'm not mistaken.
Good point. Very good point.
I don't care. I honestly don't care.
But
here's
the
thing.
press is kind of liberal in your town, and I'm just wondering, you think they'll cut you some slack?
They don't have to cut me slack. I don't care if they cut me slack. If I'm not electable, then I won't get elected. But I believe being a senator, being a governor, being in the political office is about being a leader. It's not about being the smartest guy in the room, even when you're not, or the smartest gal in the room. It's about surrounding yourself with smart people and coming to a consensus and making the right decisions for the people you represent. As a senator, that would be the people of Massachusetts. As the governor, you're fiscally responsible for Massachusetts. As president, it's the country.
But Kurt, that Senate club, they're pretty elitist. I mean, there are a couple of wild ones in there, but that's a pretty elite club.
Well, I think I'm pretty comfortable in telling you that I would not have a problem with sitting in one of those elite clubs and telling someone to kiss my butt. As you work for the people that vote you in and represent you. You don't take your own personal agenda to D.C. You take your constituents' agenda as a senator. And so, that club, I get it. But I think we're getting to see more and more non-politicians in politics. I believe men like Trey Gowdy. I believe men like Colonel Allen West. I believe more and more people that are leaders will rise to the top, because we can't. Listen, I don't understand how Hillary's an option, much less the candidate. I don't understand how she's not in jail. She is the epitome of white elitism. And the things that she's done. This is a woman who took money from the survivors in Haiti, who helped ruin the lives of women her husband's accused of sexually assaulting, who was and if you look under the Secretary of State,
do you think that issue, the whole marriage issue, should come up? And in the next debate?
No. Not the fact that he did it. It's her role in helping destroy those women.
I understand,
that's where
but
she
if
becomes.
Donald Trump brings it up, and he said he didn't for a reason that he didn't want to do that with her daughter there, family there. But it sounds like all bets could be off for the next debate. What then?
Well, you know what, Neil? He doesn't need to use it. There's enough to get her on already. She is the gift that keeps on giving every single day. She says something more stupid or more of a lie than she did the day before. You don't have to make stuff up. You don't have to reach for the things that she's giving you. This is and I was going to say, if you look under the job description for Secretary of State, the Secretary of State is responsible for American citizens abroad on American soil and its diplomats. She failed miserably. Not only did she fail, but it almost looks like she willfully failed, which we hope and pray it was never the case, comes back, lies to the families, and then calls the families of the 4 men who she got killed liars to the American people. What kind of a despicable human being does that? And she's the leading candidate? Are you kidding me?
Well, she is the leading candidate right now. If you don't mind, if I could switch gears a little bit. There's been a great deal of attention paid to those who are sitting out or kneeling out the national anthem. The cover Time magazine, Colin Kaepernick. Others have done it as well. This has spread a little bit. A few Washington Redskins players in the last weekend shaking their fists in the air. Even some kids at Pop Warner games doing the same. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I was pissed initially, very pissed. And then when I started to hear the veterans talk about him kneeling being one of the rights that they fought for, I kind of backed away from that point. But he's kneeling for a false narrative. He's kneeling for a lie. The Black Lives Matter movement and this disproportional violence against blacks by our police officers is founded on no factual data. It's founded on the fact that every time there is an incident like this, or in the rare occasions that there is an incident like this, the media blows it up. In the 75 most violent cities in this country, blacks make up 15% of the population, yet commit 57% of the murders. And listen, you and I can both agree there's racism in this country. There will be racism forever. You can't pass laws. You can't legislate morals. You're always going to have the bad apples. But in this country, we don't execute you for having bad opinions. We don't jail you for disagreeing or protesting. And that makes us different. Our founding document was perfect.
Well, what would you, if you were running
slavery,
these teams, if you're running these teams and these players like Kaepernick and others do this, what would you tell them? Would you bench them? Would you?
Oh, I would. Oh, I would have no problem telling them that they'll stand for the anthem. You know what I would do? I would bring in veterans from Walter Reed and veterans that have served to stand on my sidelines every game. And any man with the lack of a spine to kneel beside a veteran, I don't want them on my team anyway.
Let me switch sports. Tim Tebow. He's gone from football to baseball. Just hit a home run for, I think, some minor league Mets team or right below it.
Instruction league.
Exactly. So what did you make of that?
Surprised, sure. It wasn't just a home run. He hit a home run to the opposite field, center field. Instruction league is where every team sends kind of their top prospects in the winter to get more practice. I expected him to be overmatched. He clearly wasn't. But instruction league, he's not taking anybody's spot. So next spring training, when he goes to try and win a job, I will be interested to see how he competes. I don't think he has a chance in hell of making the big leagues, but I would never, a man of that strong of faith, I'd never bet against him.
He's gotten a lot of press as well on the faith thing, and does he wear it on his sleeve? What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I found it funny how when he knelt, the media was up in arms. When he knelt and gave his thanks to God, his praise to God, he was vilified by people. And it wasn't, listen, he wasn't a good quarterback in the NFL.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. Yeah.
But Neil, and I say this with all due respect because you're a Yankee fan, and it pains me. You're one of the few people left that I have a lot of respect for in the media because of the fact that I think you try and straddle enough to give an unbiased opinion, but there's bias in all of us.
Well, there is.
And that's
you're
not
right
a bad
about
thing.
that. Do you think the bias right now, I don't know if you heard of this, USA Today didn't endorse a candidate, but it just wrote against Donald Trump, that he's not fit for the presidency. It has never backed a candidate one way or the other in its 30-plus years of existence, but it went out of its way today to print this editorial damning Donald Trump without supporting Hillary Clinton or anyone else. What did you think of that?
Well, listen, I've stopped trying to get my news from the media. When I think it was the managing editor of The Guardian, which might be the most left-leaning rag on the planet, came out and said it was the media's job to get Hillary Clinton elected. I stopped worrying about my facts from the media. I try and do as much as I can from a research perspective, combining information, combining data to try and find out what the real story is. I don't care if the USA Today. I've never voted for somebody because a paper endorsed them. I've never voted for somebody because they ran a special ad. I voted for the person. I've been wrong sometimes. I've been right others. But at the end of the day, if you don't like Donald Trump, which is understandable, he can rub people the wrong way. I get it. If you don't like Hillary Clinton, you sure as hell can't vote for Gary Johnson because I have yet to see him when he's not high. And if he's not high, then he's clearly not informed.
I'm going to tell him you said that because he's with me this weekend, special coverage. Did you know that?
But I say that, and I'm joking.
I know.
But this